Yes! Welcome to the stream. Big ups. And this is Sissy in the chat. Big ups to everyone else who is tuning in. We've got a decent amount of news today. Every single day seems to be bringing us gifts in terms of news. And so I'm excited to talk about it all. Updates on Ait-Nouri, and that we're not just talking about Rangers and Shirky here, which is good. You know, we got some different type of news today on different players around the club, and so I'm excited to talk about the more actual progression on other transfers, because I was getting a little bit worried about Ait-Nouri and a little bit on Livramento. I was getting worried it'd gone a bit quiet. We hadn't really heard anything, so I wasn't worried that it wasn't going to happen. I had a feeling we'd come back in, but it's gone a bit quiet. But we finally got a bit of an update today. So let me show you my screen on here. There you go. Let's just jump straight into it. So from the top, here is stuff from Ryan Shirky. People don't know me very well, otherwise I'd be less criticised. When people get to know me, more than a few are surprised. They hear things people sometimes try to make up. They're not true. I don't feel like describing myself. That's not my role. People who know me best are to do that. I'm also talking about everything that's been made up, all the things that people have said about me, my entourage, even though there's never been any incidents. I'm human, and so of course positive and negative things can happen to me. People have sometimes said I'm hard to deal with, difficult to coach. It's not true. I've always stayed silent, never responded. I invite all critics to name something real. They can think about it for a very, very, very long time. He's basically coming out there and saying all this baloney about. He's basically saying that everything you've heard about how I've got an attitude problem, I'm hard to work with and whatnot. He's basically coming out and saying none of it's true. And look, it's easy to take from the guy who's getting accused of it. It's easy to just believe that. I'm entitled to believe it. And I do like how he mentions there. I don't feel like describing myself. It's not my role. People who know me best are to do that. So yeah, I like what he's saying here. He's coming out. He's denying the bad rumors. I don't think he would. I don't think he would come out and say, yeah, all that stuff about me being awful to coach and whatnot, it's all true. But look, to have some sort of clarification from him, actually acknowledgement of it. So yeah, I'm fine with this. Why not? I prefer this actually coming out and saying something about it, as opposed to just let it fester. Let people just talk. He's come out, he's defended himself a bit. Pep Guardiola. All right, we're gonna jump straight onto here. Ait-Nouri, we will look at that. Bingo. So this is the latest update from Ait-Nouri and Sissy. Ait-Nouri has said yes to the Man City move, and now I actually want to have a big talk about Ait-Nouri, because genuinely, this Ait-Nouri is a left back, and that's a position that we do need. Some people say, "Oh, we got Vardiol. Vardiol's so much better centre back. He does great at left back, but he's unreal at centre back." But for me, Ait-Nouri, he's not the most offensive fullback in the world. Okay, he's very offensive. He's got 12 goal contributions, I believe, for Wolves this season. Pretty good going. He does tend to bounce forward. Not to say he doesn't do any defensive work. He obviously does. But what I'm saying is that he is very much an attacking fullback. And so I'm curious to see how we do come about with how we play next season. Because it is a bit of a change in a weird sense. Have you seen Shirky first touch video. Wow, I think we got our Mara's regen. I have seen his touch, or at least a video of his touch, and the touch I saw was pretty spot on. To be fair, much better than my average touch. You know, I maybe produce touches as smooth as that, maybe like 1 in a million. But yeah, it just needs to be practice. Huge news. You know, this is great news. This Pep Guardiola has confirmed that that Stefan Ortega and Ederson are both set to stay at the club next season. Just great news, isn't it? Okay, not just because like, oh, I never want them to leave and whatnot. It's great news because that is money that can be invested somewhere else. If Ederson left, we suddenly got to invest about 50-60 million on a new goalkeeper. Now that we don't need to spend 50-60 million on a new keeper, we can dedicate that resource to somewhere else. Like you said, this is City earlier. Ederson saying it could allow us to put everything into the hat for Livramento. I'm happy about this, but Ederson has to get his head in it and stop the injuries. Yeah. What I do think is that Ederson has really got to lock in. You know, I like Ederson. Most City fans do. And I'm more than happy for him to stay. But I want the Ederson of a couple seasons ago. You know, the Ederson that was just locked in and never made a mistake on the ball. You know? And the Ederson that didn't get caught out running for his box and go for a diving header and then completely misses. You know? Getting rounded by players. Of course, this season has been a downer for everyone. It's not been great for Eddie. It's not been great for everyone. But those individual errors, if he can lock down on those, you know, tie them down, be like, all right, those are in the past. I'm locked in here. I want to be here. That's what matters. Because if Ederson wants to leave, just let him go. You know, genuinely just let him go. But from what I'm seeing, this means that he's staying. Ortega, I'm absolutely fine with keeping him as our backup keeper. Hi, FIFA, by the way, welcome to the stream. You know, this is only good news for me. You know, assuming that they can stay at a decent level. Wolves have already begun their search for a new left back, as Ait-Nouri is set to join City. The player is keen on the move, which should be agreed in time for the Club World Cup. Apparently an offer for Shirky is going to be received early this week, and all parties will conclude the deal this week, apparently. Pep Linders is set to be announced quite soon. Just looking for the remainder of the people. Ait-Nouri deals hoping to be done sooner rather than later, according to Jack Gorn, and expect to complete the signing, having admired the player for over 12 months. So that we've clearly been big fans of this guy. With Ederson, it's clearly all about focus, and because he has games, he makes world-class saves like Fulham last game of the season. He was focused and saving everything. And that's the Ederson we want, isn't it? You know, Ederson can be good at shot stopping. Like, you do see, sometimes Ederson produces some brilliant saves, you know. And if he could just lock in every game, like you tend to see for like you tend to see from like Alisson at Liverpool, Courtois, you know, just lock in, absolutely lock in. Don't think about potential moves to Saudi or anything like that. Just think about City. If that's the place you want to be, then focus on us. It's said we ain't getting Virtual, Gibbs White, and he thinks we'll full send Livramento, and TBH I kind of agree, and a good Ederson is staying. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure. Big ups in the stream, by the way, Rodrigo. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get Virtual Gibbs White as well. There's probably a smidge of hope for Gibbs White, but I don't think it's much, like 1%. You know, genuinely, the Shirky deal's got to fall through massively for it to fail. But yeah, look. When it comes to, sorry, I'm just trying to get the words out. Look, Gibbs White, I think he's a solid player, but I don't think 70 million is worth it. I think apparently the 40 million figure we're looking to pay is much better and much more ideal. Hugo Viana's mad. I apologise to him, Lol. Yeah, I mean, you know, just give him the time. Give him time and he'll cook. Mateo Kovacic, injury / surgery. He's going to miss out on the Club World Cup, and he's going to spend the summer rehabilitating from the operation. Hopefully, he'll be available for early in the season. You know, I did hear somewhere that it could be after August he returns, but hopefully he just returns all right, because I do think he is a solid player. City are pursuing a deal to sign the Wolves left back. Agreement still needs to be reached between clubs and with player, however. All parties now expect the move to happen. Kovacic out for 3 months. So, 8 months. No. August, September maybe, hopefully. Do we think Rangers get Stone's number? It really depends on when he comes in and when players start leaving, because we are signing a lot of players early, but no one's really signing our players. Like John Stones, you know, player that City apparently potentially moving on. He could be on the way out, you know. Everton did get linked recently, to be fair. I think he'll get the 8 if Kova leaves. I think he'll get the 5 if Stones leaves. You know, I do think it comes down to that. I think he gets the 20 if Bernardo leaves, but I don't think Bernardo's going anywhere. We don't need anyone. I just can't back that. I just can't. You know, we got the money. We should bring in the players that we need. But fair enough. Danny Olmo's was Pep's priority. Discussions between City and Barca would be suggested that negotiations would be long, complex, and bitter. City want a number 10 and 8 for the Club World Cup and are prioritising Shirky. Honestly, thank the Lord, because I think Danny Olmo stinks. I was about to say happy birthday, Aguero. Just remembered that. Now I'm going to flick over to here because I do want to see something. Just want to try and see the post I initially saw here. Yes, here we go. So main targets. What's really good about this? What I'm really happy about this post is that it clarifies that we want both. Tino Livramento and Ait-Nouri talks to advance soon. Ait-Nouri and move is expected to happen. City confident. Livramento, difficult deal as Newcastle aim to keep him. 37 Aguero, I know. 45 mil on Ait-Nouri, 65 mil Rangers, 35 Shirky, and whatever it takes to sign Timo Livramento. Yeah, and then I think you're looking at a really solid summer. You know, and what I love about that is that we're actually signing fullbacks, by the way. You know, it's not, you know, one of our fullbacks isn't Akanji at right back as an option or Ake at left back as an option. We're actually signing out-and-out fullbacks, which I do really like. I think PSG has really implemented Pep. Thank goodness for Luis Enrique. I think Pep is changing the system because of him. I'd be shocked if there isn't a system change with the signings we're making. You know, these are two out-and-out fullbacks. We don't do that a ton. You know, we don't do that a ton, and yet we are signing out-and-out fullbacks here. You know, I think like the last out-and-out proper good fullback. I'm not counting Sergio Gomez. There's no way he played more than 30 games. So not counting Sergio Gomez, I think the last one we would have signed would have been, obviously not counting Vardio because he's a centre back, would have probably been Joao Cancelo. Connect, if Pep leaves, we've got players set up for Luis Enrique. He's my clear choice. Don't know about you though. It's either him or Nagelsmann, isn't it? Agree either way. This is it. I do really like Luis Enrique there. I do really like him. I think it would be like a good step for Luis Enrique too. Clearly a top coach. You know, only other manager to win 2 trebles. So, fair play. Big up Rodrigo. Yeah, big up Rodrigo in the chat. Appreciate you. Yeah, but look, hopefully Ait-Nouri can be sealed within the next days. You know? I really hope we can. Look, we could maybe, just maybe, have 3 here we goes this week. We could maybe. It'll be Shirky and Rangers before Ait-Nouri, but maybe back end of the week we get a Ait-Nouri. Here we go. I'm not gonna bank on it, you know, but hey, wouldn't it just be vibes? Let's go check out that exact David Orton post. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, wait there is something I want to look at because I did catch a glimpse of this news earlier. Ait-Nouri. Here we go. Okay. I really hope that we don't like have a Cucurella saga over this. I don't know if you remember the Cucurella saga, guys, but Cucurella, we kept prodding, kept saying 35 million. And Brighton were like, no, we want 45 million or 50 million, however much it was. Don't do that again, Blues. Please do not. I'm just hoping that, you know, what they want over 40, so what they want 45 million maybe. 45 million including add-ons, 50 at the very push. Are we seriously letting 15 to 20 million define this transfer? If we want a player, we sign him. That's the power. That's the power that we have with our revenue. You know, that's the power that we we very well can use. And look, even if you don't think we have the revenue, I'll just sell 2 academy players, and suddenly this deal is completely covered. You know, McAtee's going to sell for about 25 million, probably. Big ups everyone in the stream. Make sure to hit the likes, by the way. Do appreciate it. And then another academy player sells for what? 20 to 15. Suddenly that transfer is paid for itself. Ait-Nouri, Shirky, Rangers 130 million combined, and then Wirtz is 130 million on his own. You know, and these aren't like clapped players we're getting either. Ait-Nouri, Premier League proven, very solid, very good left back. Shirky, one of the French league's best talents. Reinders, literally the best midfielder in the Serie A, and he got an award for that. You know, literally won midfielder of the season and absolutely carries AC Milan by the looks of it. And then we can go and splash on Livramento to bring that to about 200 million. And suddenly we've had an absolute cracking summer. Without having to buy a new keeper as well. Vert's 130 million, Liverpool third bid rejected too. Yeah, I did see that they had a bid of £109 million rejected. Just gonna have a look through here. Yeah, that's the Ait-Nouri story again. Whoa. City have signed an 18-year-old striker, Mahamadou Sangare. Going to undergo his medical soon. Set to join on a long-term deal. Strategy is clear. Sign and develop top young talent. Sangare leaves on a free. To be honest, I think we are probably just going to develop this guy and then sell him for about 20 million. If I'm being real, that's the typical strategy. To be fair, I don't think Rangers. I think Rangers is an amazing sign. I don't think he'll take the headlines, but I think he'll be an 8 out of 10 every single week, like Rodri. Yeah, I think that's the type of thing you're gonna see from Rangers as well. Just someone that is consistently performing for you week in, week out, doesn't put a foot wrong, and just super solid in that midfield alongside Rodri. Plenty goals said it, I think. Alright. Try and find them. Let's. Hello. Ooh. Tottenham wanting to keep him. Hugo Ekitike. Where do we think he's going? I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised, by the way, that we haven't seen. Yeah, I saw that. I saw it. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen any teams going for Gyökeres, right? Like Arsenal, I thought we were going to go for Gyökeres because I don't think they're going to get Isaac. But instead, it looks like they want Sesko, and I'm just kind of shocked. And Chelsea want Ekitike, unless Liverpool end up going for Gyökeres. But to be honest, I don't think the Liverpool are going to sign Vert to over 130 million. Frimpong 35 and Kirkes for probably about 45. That's already over 200 mil. Gyökeres is going to cost you like almost 70 million. Are Liverpool going to spend 280 million? TK 0 goals and 2 miles left. Not worried about Arsenal, man. Now, Sesko is the complete opposite of a striker. They needed to win something. Marvin outscored Sesko in 24-25 Bundesliga. Isn't he the second top goal scorer still? Bundesliga stats. I'm trying to see. Omar Marmoush got 6th in terms of goals in the Bundesliga, and he hasn't kicked the ball in the Bundesliga since January. Like, bro, it's just kind of crazy, isn't it? Hasn't kicked the ball since January, and he's 6th in terms of the top scorers. What a player, huh? Got more goals in the Bundesliga than Sesko did all season. I'm not trying to give shade to Arsenal or anything like that, but I think we got the better guy. Apparently, deal trying to get done there. Luis Diaz to Barca. $130 million offer. I wonder how much that's going to go up to. I think Leverkusen are just trying to wait for Liverpool to go up to 150. Marmoush and Haaland are going to go up the levels next season, particularly. I think both fullbacks are going to boost them. Of course, Shirky too. Yeah, I can agree. I think the fullbacks helping on the attacks are going to be so good, especially Ait-Nouri, as he's quite an offensive fullback to my knowledge. We'll quickly go over here. 5 goals, 7 assists, 11 goal contributions in the Premier League this season. He's clearly just a solid player, isn't he? Probably one of Wolves' better signings. Now, the Wolves are probably going to try and spend about 8 million to remove the clause that Angers got, because I believe if we buy them, and I believe they got 50% selling clause, Angers, Angers, I'm not really sure I'd say it that way, but I'm pretty sure they need to spend 8.5 million to remove that clause. If Wirtz isn't in top 3 to 5 Ballon d'Or after being 150 million, he is a flop. Simple as that. Yeah, it's either that or the competition's insane up there. But yeah, I get what you're saying. 150 million is wild, and I'm saying that as a team that spent 100 million on Jack Grealish. 150 is crazy. It's a lot of money, and that's not even including wages. He's gonna come in and he's gonna want big wages for him. I doubt it's gonna be small wages for a player of his size. Now he's joining the Premier League, and he'll be one of the faces of it from the get go. Burnley budget Liverpool. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, the whole Florian Wirtz stuff. We'll see how it goes. Connect. Timu ads. Hopefully we're going to get Here we go soon, because that is genuinely what we're waiting for. What do we think of Ait-Nouri? I'm happy with him. I think he's solid. Look, he's a very attacking player, which is something to mention. He's not quite as defensive as other fullbacks we've had back in the day, but he's a bit more like Joao Cancelo in terms of how he's a bit more offensive. Now, and here are some of his strengths: dribbling, defensive contribution, tackling, concentration. So look, I say he's very offensive, but he does pitch in. It's not like he's defensively inept. One of his strengths is his defending contributions. Gets fouled a lot, likes to dribble, shoot from distance, likes to play short passes, exactly how we are. Had a great game here by the looks of it in the Tottenham 4-2 win for them. Now then, we'll just bounce on over to FootMob real quick. Wow, we're actually getting 3 players before the Club World Cup. I had a feeling we'd stop at 2 and then crack on afterwards, but yeah, we actually might be getting 3 players in before the Club World Cup. Just insane. And now then, we'll just hop on over here. He's averaged a 7 this season, by the way, which is pretty good for a team that are chilling in the very much the bottom half of the table. They're in a relegation fight at one point. So it's good going, to be fair to him. Now we'll have a look here. This big Tottenham game. He scored 2 minutes in. Judge the lineups. He was man of the match. This is no Cunha, by the way. He may have been benched and came on later. Yeah, came on later, but this is no Cunha starting, and he got an 8.8. Have a look at some of his stats. Scored a goal. Nice goal. Straight into the bottom corner. 22 out of 26 accurate passes. 3 chances created. XG of 0.05. XG on target, 0.43. XG assists, 0.73. And not too bothered about fantasy. 1 shot, so, clinical when he got the opportunity. 2 touches in the box, 42 touches overall. accurate crosses, 2 out of his 3. No long balls accurate, but I don't think he's going to really be doing as many long balls with us. Although, don't be surprised. Defending now, clearance is 1, headed clearance 1, 3 defensive actions, 3 recoveries. Lost 1 duel and won 5 others. He's got good stats. Hugo Viana. Wow, I'm watching Spain-France on Thursday. Shirky, watch. Elijah, yes, Chelsea 22-24, but in terms of good players, City also 17-18. Liam, have we ever seen a club being this active like Man City before? Can I ask you a question, Gibbs White 10? Welcome to the stream, bro. How you doing, Gibbs White 10? Yeah, but feel free to ask me a question. But yeah, the only time we've ever been this kind of active before, I can feel, is 17-18 when we signed Ederson, Bernardo, Walker, Mendy, and Danilo. That's just 5 off the top of my head. I just named those on the fly. There could very well be more in there. Yeah, so that was the last time we've ever been linked like this before, and it seems like we're getting that once more. But yeah, Chelsea, when they went on that shopping spree, oh my lord, that was something. Come back over there. Yeah, Ruben Diaz outfit. So something I'd wear. Yeah, teacher is definitely the right word for it. But it looks almost like a teacher from a film, is what I would say. I wouldn't expect a teacher from schools I've been to just. Even then, though, actually, he doesn't look too far off. He doesn't look too far off, to be honest. After another look. Well, that is most of the transfer news covered. Ortega and Eddie staying, which is good. Have a quick look through Barca stuff. Wait, more quotes here from Ryan Shirky. So, I'll be the only one to decide my future. No one will decide for me why or where. I don't want to suffer. There are a lot of players suffering, but time passes quickly. Hopefully, in 10, 15 years, I'll be able to say I was proud of myself and my choices. I need to be talked to about football, and more football, pure and simple. All options are credible. For now, I'm focused on the 2 important games I have with the France national team, and we'll see what happens after. I'm ready for any system. I work every day, physically and mentally, to be ready. Above all, I'm trying to choose the best option for me, to develop as a person and a footballer. The player I'd like to be, in the new French national team, is Zidane. His path I'd like to follow. Well, I mean, hey, fair play to him. Who will be Man City new captain? It's a good question. There's a number of players it could be. Rodri, Diaz, maybe even Gundo. One of those 3 maybe. Where's Ryan Shirky's what? I don't know what that is, Gibbs White. One more look through here. Shirky already expressed openness to wanting to work with Pep and believes he can reveal his full potential. Players' entourage are finalising personal terms with City and expect to sign a long-term deal. Yeah, I mean, again, just more of similar stuff here, really. We're getting, like, imagine the news we're getting right now, like Shirky and Rangers, is like dominoes are, like, ever so slightly falling, and sometimes they'll continue to fall, but then they'll stop, like you've just done them poorly, and so you got to push the next one over. That's kind of how it feels with this transfer saga at the moment. It's going to happen. We can see that, but it's just plodding along slowly, and we're going to get there eventually. Guess who will be next season Premier League champions? Hopefully us. Hopefully us, Gibbs White. But look, big up to everyone who tuned in. Gibbs White, this is City. Elijah. And everyone else who tuned in along the way too. We had FIFA in there at one point. Big up to everyone who tuned in. I appreciate the support as per usual. Not a super long one today, but I do appreciate the support. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Make sure to like the stream if you did enjoy it. And if you enjoyed it that much, feel free to subscribe and turn the notification bell for when that Here We Go stream eventually comes. Big up to you all, Blues. I'll see you all in the next one.